And then when did you start comedy? You said you came here when you were 21. Did you go back after that?
Yeah, my visa ran out. I didn't want to get into trouble with immigration because I thought if I ever really want to come here, I don't want to fucking end up getting into trouble. So so I left before my visa ran out. But there used to be the first time I ever appeared on a stage. I mean, I started doing comedy back there later, but first time I ever did comedy was a punk rock venue in London. They were having a festival of Scottish punk rock bands, and all these Cockney punks were there. I was about 18 or 19 years old, and I was the drummer in one of the bands. And the lead singer said, "We have to change equipment between the bands, so you go out and be funny to these Cockney punks." I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" I had no background. No stand-up comedy didn't exist in Britain then. It was only potatoes. That's all it was. And so I went out on the stage. I wore a kilt because I thought that'd be funny and good. And I was wearing a kilt and I tried to tell jokes and stuff. They wouldn't shut up. They were like, "Whoa!" Just a bunch of
they're not a very receptive crowd.
And then there was girls at the front that were trying to look up my kilt, and I was going like that. But I was so scared, my knees were shaking. And they started to say, "His knees are knocking, his knees are knocking." Man. And then the whole fucking venue.
Those British get heckle.
All these Cockney punks are like, "His knees are knocking, his knees are knocking, his knees are knocking." And I had to go off the stage crying.
That's
so I thought, but you know the weird thing, and this is how you know you're a fucking stand-up, because I came off and I went, I got to do that again.
I think I got him at the end. I think
I had him. I was nearly there.
That knees knocking bit really worked, huh?
I'm going to leave that bit in. I'll start with the knees knocking. That was my problem.
And then when did you get back over here and start really pursuing stand-up?
Or did you already have a good career over there and then came here? Did you come here and pop?
No, neither really. I mean, I had an okay career there. I was doing all right. I was getting like parts and shows, and I was doing stand-up.
This is in Scotland. This is in London.
A little of both.
Column
A, column B.
Were you based out of Scotland though?
No,
were you home?
I was in Scotland until I was about 24, 25.
Okay.
And then the girl that we got married, we got divorced.
Understand?
At 24, so I moved down to London when I was about 24. I was still drinking a lot.
Okay.
And have you guys heard of drugs?
Yeah.
All right. So I was
I'm
doing
a
them.
big fan.
I was
Buddy,
doing them.
welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Right.
Big fan.
So I was doing drugs as well. So I was taking the drugs and the drinking, and so my performance style was inconsistent. Sometimes I was great.
I have that now.
Yeah. So it kind of came and went a little bit. I was doing okay. And then what happened was I got sober in London when I was 29.
Okay.
And then I was kind of like, I was keen to change things, but everyone, I was still like the drunk to everybody. I couldn't like change the perception.
I got you.
And I always wanted to be in America anyway. I always wanted to go to America. And then I was doing the Edinburgh Festival. You know the Edinburgh Festival, right? So I was doing the Edinburgh Festival, and an American guy called Rick Siegel, who became my manager, he saw me there, and he was like, "You should come to America. You've cleaned up your act. You've dropped 25 pounds. Fuck it, come over, and I'll see if I can get you a gig." And I came over for 2 weeks in November 1994, and I'm still here.
Whoa.
No shit.
Damn.
Yeah.
Where did you move to when you came over? Did you go to L.A. or
Los
here?
Angeles, yeah.
You went to L.A.
Yeah, I got because I would have come here.
Right.
Because this is where I knew. But I went out to L.A. and they offered me a job. My first job was doing a sitcom that lasted like 20. I only lasted 10.
Yeah.
But
they used to come and go back in
my
the day.
God.
The mid-season replace. I mean,
Yeah,
it was like they greenlight 2. You get 2 episodes.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like
right.
The next thing.
Wait, so how long had you been doing stand-up when you came over here?
Well, since I'd been doing it in Britain and stuff. It always
10, 15 years or so?
Because I had this, I kind of missed this bit out. I had this character I used to do called Bing Hitler, right? And I used to do this character. I thought it'd be funny.
Different time, man. Different time.
Do you know, it was kind of funny.
Yeah, sure.
It was pretty funny.
Like Bing Crosby and Hitler?
No, I mean, yes, with the name thing, but there was no real reference to it. He was actually just a Scottish guy. That was just his name. But there was nothing in it about Nazis or crooning. It was just a kind of weird character.
Okay.
And I did that, and that was pretty successful. That did well.
All right.
So I'd been doing that, and that was kind of going all the time. That kind of came and went. I made a couple of albums with that as well, because we used to do comedy albums.
Yeah, I know.
Before comedy podcasts, there were comedy albums. And you could write 25 minutes every 4 years, and, you'd be fine.
And there you go.
Yeah, it's not
And
like
then where
now.
did you land in L.A.? Were you working at the store? Where were you?
No, I didn't. See, when I got to LA, I stopped doing stand-up.
Okay.
Because I kind of didn't know what to do.
And went out as an actor.
Yeah, and I got a job with like my third audition with Betty White and Marie Osmond on a show called Maybe This Time, and I became friends with both of these women.
That's crazy.
They're both fucking, well, Betty's gone now, but they're both fucking great. And Betty, who was on my late night show every week when I was there doing it, she and I stayed friends right up until she died. And she was unbelievably nice to me when I turned up and I had like no fucking idea what I was doing. And she was nice to me. She talked
had great
to me.
chops. Too.
Oh my God!
This is multicam sitcom
yeah,
studio,
old
LA
school stuff. Yeah.
So do you call back home and you're like, we're getting there, we're making it.
Yeah, they're like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah, they can't really wrap their head around it.
Yeah, your brother's got a damaged testicle. He's going for an operation. I'm like, okay, fine.
Goldie died.
Yeah, Goldie 2 is doing okay.
Holy shit!
That's wild, man. And what part of town are you in New York?
Well, have you guys heard of the Upper East Side?
Yeah, of course. It's the first place I lived when I moved up here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 81st and 1st.
I was pretty close.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the same apartment.
No, of course not.
81st and 1st is very close to the comic strip.
Yes.
Yeah, the comic strip, there used to be, when I was here when I was 21, I was kind of thinking about, I'd done the Cockney thing. You remember you're not going to. So
Yes.
I thought, when I was here, I thought, I'd love to try stand-up comedy again, see how it worked. And there used to be a thing at the comic strip. There was a guy who's died now, but it was a guy called Lucian Hole who was in charge of all that. And I, there used to be you would go up there at 10 a.m. on a Monday morning and there would be all these stand-up comedians waiting outside, these kids, and you would take a lottery ticket out of a basket, and if your number was called, they would pick 10 people every Monday morning.
We've been in those lines.
We did.
Yeah.
Right.
They
Yeah,
still did it up
100%.
until like 10 years ago.
All right, so you pull the ticket, and if you get called the following Monday, you get a spot, and it's kind of like an open mic spot. And I pulled the ticket. I didn't get called, and so I said to the guy, the barman who was running it, the guy who was just behind the bar. He was like, I said, what do I do with this then? Do I come back next week and try again? And he said, where are you from? I said, Scotland. And he went, oh, I've got to fucking see this. All right, so he put me in, and I got a spot the following week, and I did okay.
Yeah.
I did okay. I got a few laughs. And so they asked me back the following week to do it again. Now, this time I'm starting to get worried because I can't earn any money because I don't have that visa. So I go back the next week, and it was okay. Everything worked out fine because I was shit, and they said,
This guy's a flash in the pan at best.
Yeah.